questions you have, want to go over, want to see, let me know. So any questions we want to see, go over on this first page? The first one, okay. Any others on this page? Alright, so you are writing the equation from this line. So I would say find your slope, find your y-intercept. Y-intercept would be easier. Look for another point that goes through grid lines exactly. I would do where the arrows are, because that would be the easiest. And then count your slopes. So going up 2, to the left 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Our slope, our y-intercept is at positive 1. So that equation would be y equals negative 2 over 5x plus 1. Did you want to say the picture? So it doesn't really look like it, but the y-intercept for this one is at the bottom. And then another point that crosses the grid lines exactly would be like this one. So what would your slope of that be? Y-intercept is, what did I say, negative 5. So y equals negative 8x minus 5 would be your equation. Anytime you see horizontal or vertical lines, write somewhere your Hoivux so you remember how to write it. Remember, you're not looking for the slopes of those lines, you're looking for the actual equations. If no other questions on that page, go on to the next one. Questions on this page we want to see, go through, have questions about. Jasmine? So if you're given your slope and your y-intercept, you just have to put those together. Y equals negative 3 over 4x plus 30. Regina? Okay. So for all of these type of problems, you need your point slope. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. You said 9, right? Okay. So then you have your x1, y1, and your m, and you're going to put all those into that format. So y minus our y1 is 0. Our slope is negative. And then x minus our negative 4. Remember to put either 2 negatives or change it to a plus. The y minus 0 just becomes y. You have to change it to a plus before you can distribute. Then distribute. So negative 1/2 x minus 2 would have been that equation. Other questions on that page? On the next page, before we start the bottom section, are there questions 10 through 12 that we want to see go over Keela? 12. And then I'm going to add one in this missing space. But same thing, except this one we can't really do work for because our slope is undefined. So we have to remember what type of slope would be undefined. And x equals. So if you get something like this, or if it says slope is 0, you would do the opposite. So So here, because our slope is undefined, this is going to be an x equals. Look at what your x value is, and that would be your equation. There's really no work to do. You just have to know that. Otis.
So when we were doing the graphs and we were finding this with the set problem, you wrote m equals n equals. Can you just write slope and y-intercept instead of m equals n equals?
You mean for the graph?
Yeah.
Well, the goal is to find the equation, so you don't even have to do that part.
Okay.
You just have to find the equation. Okay, in this blank space, I want you to write through the point 0, 1/2, where your slope is 1/2. Now, before we go through the work of this, does anyone remember what's special about this ordered pair, Regina?
If the x is 0, the second number is the 1.
Correct. So be on the lookout for points that give you your y-intercept because you don't have to do the work for those. So we have our slope, and then we have our y-intercept. Could you still do the work? Yes. But sometimes you make more mistakes with that, so be careful. Questions on that one? Now, questions on the bottom section? If not, I'm going to have you add one more in this blank space. Through the points 0, 7 and negative 1/2, 1. You can do that. So we'll do 16 first and then come back and do the one I just wrote. So for these type of questions where you're given 2 points, what do we have to do first? Find the slope. So let's do that for 16. Label them if you need to. We have 0 minus negative 5 over 0 minus 4. What's our slope?
Negative 10 equals.
Would that be negative?
Well, it's going to be negative because the denominator is negative, so it's going to be.
Make the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yep. And this would be this. Do we have to do the work to find our y-intercept? No, we're given it. What is our y-intercept?
So that's negative 5.
0. So y equals negative 5 over 4x or plus 0. Either or. Questions on that one before we do the one I wrote in? Okay, let's find the slope of this one. So we have 1 minus 7 all over negative 1/2 minus 0. This would give us negative 6 over negative 1/2. If you want to put that in your calculator, you have to put it in as 2 separate fractions. So one fraction and then in your denominator another. negative 6. So positive 12. Or if you were doing it by hand, you could take the denominator, flip it, and multiply it to both. Regina. Mm-hmm. Are we given a y-intercept here? Yes. What is it? 7. So always be on the lookout for, did you get a y-intercept? Because then you'll have less work to do. If no other questions, go ahead to the next page. Questions on that? Linda. Alright, so we have to state whether these equations are parallel, perpendicular, or neither. If they are not already solved, we'll have to solve them. So like A, we'll have to solve. Get rid of your x. I'm going to do that on both. So those two new equations would be y equals negative x plus 5 and y equals negative x minus 10. Are those two parallel, perpendicular, or neither? Parallel, how do we know that? And different y-intercepts. So these are parallel. So I'm going to put the symbol, but if you want to write it out, that's fine too. Are B's equations parallel, perpendicular, or neither? Someone besides Otis. Emmett?
Parallel.
Parallel. How do you know?
Because the slope of the y-intercept.
Okay. And then this last one, we have to solve both of them again. So get rid of your x term. Subtract the 3x on both sides. I'm kind of doing this at the same time. And then on one side you would divide by negative 8 to everything. The other you would divide by negative 6. These fractions, these are going to give you fractions, so they're not going to be nice. And I'm going to write them down here. So y equals 3/8 x minus 11/8. And y equals 1/2 x minus 5/3. Are these parallel, perpendicular, or neither? Neither. They don't have the same slopes. They don't have negative reciprocals. Other questions on this page? 18, yes. And then Kevin, did you have a question? 23. Okay. Okay, so let's do 18 first. We have to solve this in order to figure out which one is parallel. Get rid of the 5x. And divide everything by -2. Y equals positive 5 over 2x minus 9. And then of our answer choices, which one is parallel to that one? Right? And then 23 makes you think a little bit. One, you have to solve the second equation. This is switched, so get rid of the 4x. You have 4x plus 7. And divide everything by 3. So that's y equals 4 over 3, x plus 7 over 3. If a and this other equation is supposed to be perpendicular to the second one, what would that slope be? Otis?
-3.
Correct. So that's all it was really asking you to do. Find that other slope. Other questions on this page? The next page has more writing, which are all examples of things we've already done. So I want to, unless you have questions on 15, let's go on to the next page. A lot of these questions, for whatever reason, are the same as these. Is that accurate? 23 and 24 are the same as these bottom ones. And 7 through 11 are the same as these. This is the same as 20. Or 20 is the same as 1 through 3 up here. So the ones that say ignore, we're actually not going to ignore. So if you want to see any of those 15, 17, 19, 20 on that page, you can go through those. So, and the wording is a little small, but it says find an equation of the line that passes through each given point and is parallel to the line with the given equation. So first, we have to solve this. If you can't see that, it says x plus 2y equals 5. So we're going to solve that first. Subtract x on both sides. And divide everything by 2. So this equation would be -1 over 2x plus 5 over 2. Then, if we have something that's parallel to this one, what is our slope of that new equation going to be? Yes, it's going to be the same, -1 over 2. So then we're going to use that slope and this point to do our point slope. I'm going to do that in this open space up here. So y minus our y1, 1/3, equals our slope of -1/2 times x minus 1/2. So we don't have any minuses, but we do need to distribute. 3 we have negative 1/2 x plus 1/4. And then add 1/3 to both sides. What would that new equation be? Would be the y-intercept, so what would the whole thing be? Remember, sometimes you'll get fractions for your y-intercept, it just happens. Now, sometimes you may get that by accident, so be careful. Other questions here before we move on? Okay. On the next page. Questions on this page. Five. So now we're doing the same thing we just did, but now it needs to be perpendicular. So always make sure you're paying attention to the directions, the wording. We have an equation that's solved for us. If we have to make a new equation that's perpendicular to this one, what would that new slope be? Simon? Negative 1/2. So then take the point that you're given and your slope, and either in this box or on the side, do your point slope. So y minus 3 equals negative 1/2 times x minus 4. Distribute. So y minus 3 equals negative 1/2 x plus 2. And add 3 to both sides. Okay, so that would be the equation that goes on this line. Other questions on this page? Daniel. 8. Mm-hmm. So 8 is similar, but now we have to solve it first. So let's get rid of x, subtract it to the other side. Divide everything by negative 2. So this equation is y equals x or 1x minus 3. What would our new equation slope be? Regina? Flip it, make it negative. So just make it negative. Negative 1, yeah. And always simplify. So use that slope, that point, and your point slope. Be careful with your negatives. Change that to a plus, either now or in a separate. Distribute. And then add. y equals negative 1x plus. Last page or just more of these. Any on the last page we want to see, go over, have questions. If you haven't already gotten your papers together, go ahead and get that together. I'm going to be checking them as I come around. You won't have one thing on it, the SOLG 3B quick check, because that's what you'll do after you finish the quiz. But once you have that, just make sure you get that and you'll be fine. If you haven't gotten your papers together, go ahead and do that.